Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Overcoming Graduation with Brian Drury, a show where I work to teach you everything I wished I'd known about life to help you graduate to the next level in your own. And this is another installment of the Morning Commute, and a shorter, more abbreviated episode where I take time to share a quick little message that's powerful, that can help you kick off your day right. And really, what I found is sometimes just a quote, the right words, the right message first thing in the morning can drastically shift the course of the entire day, and sometimes even your entire life. Sometimes the right words from the right person at the right time can be exactly what you need to make that shift in that moment to change your life forever. And that's also an important thing for anyone who doubts their ability or capacity to help people because they look at someone like a Tony Robbins or a Sean Stevenson, or you name it, Simon Sinek, any motivational speaker or someone who is widely viewed as being powerful and helping people change their lives, is that, well, I'm no Tony Robbins, so therefore I can't do X. I can't be X. I can't touch people's lives. What if there was a person or a group of people out there who would never listen to Tony Robbins and couldn't, just didn't resonate with him, could never listen to Sean or Simon or any of these other people, and you were the only person that could deliver that message? If you knew that there was even just one, but potentially many, many, many more, and I can tell you it will be many more when you're willing to lean into the power that you have within you, all of a sudden, the gravity, it's like, would you be willing to do the work to bring that message to that person? If you knew it could change their life, it could save their life. It's not your job to save people's lives, but sometimes just introducing people to new concepts and new ideas can be all it takes to save their life. So, keeping that in mind, the quick message for today, and this will be an even quicker one because I actually started my morning commute recording a little bit later, is something I just heard actually from Tony Robbins, because I am listening to his book, Awaken the Giant Within. So I've got the audiobook going, and he talks about that everything that we do in life, everything we do as human beings, is for a reason. And there's two reasons that everything comes down to. We are making decisions in our lives for pain and pleasure. Now, the two things are this. We are either making decisions to avoid pain or generate more pleasure. So I'll say it again. We're either creating or making decisions to avoid pain or create more pleasure in our life. And he even says it may sound oversimplified. It may sound like, well, there's no way it's that simple. There's much more complexity. What's interesting about human beings that I've found is that it's not that we're so blindingly complex that no one can get us and we can't get ourselves. Life is simple. The things that are important are simple. We as human beings, using our rational minds, try to overcomplicate and convolute things, oftentimes because that gives us a really great excuse to procrastinate. Because if I told you, hey, can you move that box of tissues from one side of the table to the other? You're like, sure, that's really easy. There's no challenge. I got it. If I said, hey, could you build a microprocessor for a rocket ship that's going to the moon? Yeah, just program that up. You'd be like, oh my God, the complexity, it's blinding. There's so many things I'm going to have to learn and do. And even if it's a goal that you want, that's the crazy part. We can look at the goal as so overwhelming and so scary that, again, to avoid what we see as pain, maybe long hours, maybe studying, etc., that we are so dedicated to avoiding the pain that we don't take any steps towards it. Man, I would love to salsa dance. And I love using salsa because it's such a versatile metaphor, and it's something that's such a powerful and important part of my life. But, so if you want to be a dancer, and you've always dreamt of it, every time you watch a movie where there's dancing, you get excited. You're like, man, wouldn't it be amazing to be able to do that? To just jump into the circle and bust out, or to grab a girl, walk up and say, hey, do you want to dance? And be able to twirl her and dip her like you see in any movie where there's any salsa dancing. You see that, and there's the pleasure. you want to create more of that pleasure, but the association with the pain of what it would take to get there is greater, so most people never take action on it. They go, oh, I'm going to feel really awkward, and what if people judge me? What if people laugh at me? I'm going to look stupid on the dance floor, and all of this comes into inaction. It comes into staying in your comfort zone, which we've talked a lot about on these morning commutes, because that's another important concept, guys, is that all of this is interconnected and interrelated. All of these things touch on each other. There's a quote that my friend Sheila Mulcarrick told me of, how you do anything is how you do everything. It's not her quote, but she's the one who told it to me. And what's really important is to recognize, one, why are we doing the things we're doing? And when we look at the reasons behind, and we bring awareness to what we're doing and why, all of a sudden life can start to look very different. All of a sudden we can start to see clarity in things that just seemed like realities before, and we can also see possibilities where it seemed like a certainty. In situations where we have an idea and we think that's just how the world works, that's the way life is, deal with it, get used to it. You just got to learn to accept it. That's how it's going to be. When you bring awareness to the whys behind what you're doing, all of a sudden you see, oh, well, I don't necessarily believe that. Or I definitely don't believe that. Or I kind of do, but I don't want to. So how can I change it? The opportunity and recognizing the ability to change your beliefs is one of the most empowering things that we have. Right away, just by acknowledging that you can change your beliefs doesn't mean it will necessarily be easy. Here's the other thing. Doesn't necessarily mean it'll be hard. But it can take time. It can take effort. It can take development. But sometimes, and in this book, Tony Robbins said, change doesn't take time. The getting ready to make change is what takes time. The decision happens in an instant. And that instant can come in anything from anything. A lot of the biggest changes in your life weren't necessarily from this monumental light shining down from heaven, God speaking to you, and you flying off into the sky moments. It was something small. For me, with weight loss, it was trying to climb the stairs and getting out of breath when I was 24 pounds overweight and just realizing, shit, man, something needs to change. There have been these small moments that have led to huge things in my life. Small ideas like, I would love to put on a live event one day. And so I did my own, and then I was like, I would love to do something bigger and rent a theater. And so me and my buddy John are doing that right now. We're putting on our first live event June 30th in Santa Monica, California. It's going to be a day-long event, 8:45 in the morning to 5 p.m. And we're going to be talking about health, wealth, and relationships in an event that we call Beyond Belief. So how can you live a life that is beyond your current belief, beyond what you believe is possible in health, wealth, and relationships, starting that day of our event? That by the end of our event, you will be taking action towards and have a clear plan of how you can create the life that is beyond belief for you. All of these things start with recognizing, one, where are you trying to avoid pain and where are you trying to gain pleasure? And then what Tony Robbins says is the things that you don't want, you need to associate a lot of pain with, because then you will naturally gravitate away from them. The things that you really want, you need to associate a lot of pleasure with. Instead of thinking about, man, it's going to take a lot of time to promote this event, and man, it's what if nobody shows up? What if this? That'd be embarrassing. Like all the ideas that we can very easily get, and ideas I absolutely have had preparing for this event. Instead of doing all that, think about what would it be like to have a room full of people transforming? What would it be like to create an event where me and my buddy John are able to transform people's lives, to put on speeches, to share powerful messages? What would it be like to see people transform right before our very eyes? Because we've seen that. We've done that before. We've never done it in an event like this. So what would it be like to experience something totally new and prove to ourselves that we can do this thing that we just are figuring out as we go? That makes the whole conversation much more exciting, empowering, and encouraging. So I want you guys to have that as well. So where in your life today can you shift the conversation in your mind of pain and pleasure to empower you towards the belief and the reality and the habit that you want? where can you associate more pain with the things you don't want and more pleasure with the things that you do, so that mentally you naturally gravitate towards the thing that you really want. So guys, that is all for today, and this is it for this morning commute. As always, I love you guys for listening. And I say it, I want you to get it. Like, I say it on the episodes. It's not like a placating or general, just like, oh yeah, I say it on every episode. Like, I really do fucking love you guys, because this podcast has been so many different things, and so many different things for me in my life, and so important for me. And the encouragement that I've gotten from people telling me about the episodes they loved or the messages they got has encouraged me to do this work more and more. So I really do love you all for being a part of this, for taking time to listen, for just taking the time to put this on and have my voice in your ears to hopefully bring a message that can benefit you, your friends, your family, your loved ones, the people in your life, or maybe even a complete fucking stranger that you meet. But this is about spreading love. This is about that. So I really do love you guys for joining me in this. And as I said earlier, Jonathan Fischer and I will be hosting our first ever live event, Beyond Belief, June 30th. It's a Saturday, so Saturday, June 30th, 8:45 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Santa Monica, California at the City Garage Theater. And I'll be including the link to pick up your tickets in the show notes for this episode. So definitely take the time, go click the link, and buy your tickets if you want to transform your life. We priced it at $47 to make it as accessible as possible. We want you to come. We want you to bring your friends. We want as many people involved as we can have, because this is something we know can change people's lives. And we're leaning in on this, guys. We want you to lean in too. So if you're ready for that transformation, book your ticket, share the event. We would love it and appreciate it, and we would love to see you there. So that is all for today, guys. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for being a part of Overcoming Graduation and a part of my life. And take that time today, identify the pain and pleasure, and start associating as much pleasure as you can with the life and the habits you want.